So the harsh reality is we need to talk about the fact that yes, it's December Q4 of 2025, and a lot of altcoins have not done any type of recovery, especially in the BTC pair.
I wish I could throw up. I know it would help.
Now, yes, if you are holding coins from 2020, 2021, or bought coins 2023, hoping that they're going to magically go to all-time highs and magically going to do well, this video may well sting, and I do apologize. But we do need to look into it, why this has happened. I've talked about this before, but I'm going to look a little bit deeper in terms of dominance of Bitcoin pairs, because that's where the main factor is. I think a lot of people thought their altcoins doing well when Bitcoin went from 15K to 126K. They just didn't outperform Bitcoin at all. What did? Not many. And if there was, well, they didn't do as well as we would have liked. Let's be honest here. So if you still believe in the world of crypto and you are still here, slap the like button. Let's see who's here. If we get over a certain number, we may well do some giveaways and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty tough right now. Now, let's talk about the liquidity trap a little bit here, because I think this is important. The reason why I talk about this is because, well, Bitcoin dominance, it's still at the highs. Ethereum hasn't moved much and the others haven't moved much neither. And that's the sad thing. Most of the liquidity goes into Bitcoin. It defines survival, really silly not narratives at the minute, which is kind of a bit of an issue. Bitcoin gets that deeper liquidity. It, relies on that situation around the ETFs as well, which we will talk about. But altcoins just don't have the hype. And when you talk about hype, you talk about retail, you talk about interest and why things are doing well, outperforming Bitcoin. We haven't had enough of that, and we do need to talk about it. Because big money only cares for assets that they can exit from. There's a lot of altcoins that have liquidity issues, and most of them liquidity issues are kind of derived from themselves because they have high emission models, token inflation models, which is literally bleeding their assets essentially onto the ground floor where there's not enough hype to kind of mop it up, if that makes sense. And we could talk about the volume. When the volume die, the Ponzionics, or so to speak, collapse, which is a bit of an issue. And now, as you can see on the screen, we're still in the fear zone. And yes, you can talk about how this is a really good buy zone, but is it really worth the risk right now? Is it going to really change your life if your altcoin's going to bounce? And probably not, no, at the minute, at least. But the thing is, like, everyone talks about it in the comment section. Feel free if you disagree or not. But, people are looking for exits. If you're looking for an exit in any asset and you're looking to break even or whatever, it's probably a sign it's already dead. Now, token unlocks. This is where we do need to talk about this bit, because this is important. When we talk about, obviously, cliffs from, obviously, the tokenomics, such as maybe their inflation model to create a currency, their marketing campaigns, their staking rewards, whatever it may be. Now, 2020, 2025, you could argue, we've had a huge influx of VC funding and huge token unlocks. So you want to get paid. Supply outpaces demand, as always, right? And that's kind of the situation. When you've got too many altcoins, that becomes a bit of an issue. Most of them are inflationary. Most of them do not have yield. Most of them don't have a real product. It's all gimmick. And retail, I think, and I've said this before, doesn't understand the emissions and the tokenomics. They understand only the price, and they will buy when that price is really high. On the screen, you can see a couple of altcoins there. There's just, obviously, everything's under a paywall nowadays. Tokenomics or Tokenomist or whatever, I don't bloody know. This website, which was Token Unlocks, you can see the value here on a lot of these. Now, obviously, ENA, which is a massive Ethereum cog these days, Elgin, it's ridiculous, right? Look at the values. Millions, all across the board. And people think they're early, but actually, realistically, at the minute, when you're early, you are just exit liquidity for the unlock schedule. You need to realistically wait for that to be stopping, because you're buying an inflationary asset. And we've got here's another example. This is Sui. Sui was pretty much flying months back, but now the cliff has kind of became a bit rough. And all of a sudden, we've got these linear releases and these cliff unlocks of billions of dollars, and the price has started to fall. Well, it kind of makes sense in a way. And we're talking, again, another supply release of 60 million. We've had previous ones all the way. It gradually grinds down. Even though this is going to run for a long time, the volume may not be there. It's hurting it. Let's be honest. Patreon deal. Check it out. last time I will be doing this, realistically, 35% off annual. Get locked in, much, much cheaper price. Courses are coming. Full Discord, investment journal, DCA challenge, videos every single day pretty much. Get in. It's good. So we can talk about the hype, the influence, and the manufactured hope realistically. Now, we can put in crypto here. Realistically, what happens with the world of crypto in terms of the search analytics is a bit ugly. Realistically, you got quite a lot of people on here. There's a lot of tribalistic elements around YouTube content creators. This is why so many people still get a lot of views, because they're still in that hope situation. You know what? If you just carry on holding, you're going to make some money here. But realistically, if you do the opposite, it kind of works out pretty well. And I know that I've probably killed my own kind of channel in a way by going totally against altcoins months back, literally probably about 18 months now, where I've started to go, this is not right. I don't like this. Now, altcoin marketing is engineered around FOMO cycles, not fundamentals, which is a huge problem. And you can see here how certain titles will grab you. Look, Ben is the absolute opposite to everyone in the world of crypto, and his channel's doing fantastic. His titles are very normal. His thumbnails are very much ChatGPT led, whereas you've got the person below him trying to make you look like, oh, I want to click this. I want to find out what is happening here. Realistically, do you? But it seems to work, right? And the world of YouTube and X is all shielded by micro bubbles of I'm getting paid to promote stuff, right? And that's where the big problem lies with a lot of content creators these days. Even now, today, right now, I've had 3 or 4 emails already this morning about promotions, which is still blow my brains. And even on Telegram, this is why I don't really use Telegram anymore, because it's constant every single day. All these people are trying to promote their coins because they need exit liquidity. Retail buys narrative tops because they look at content creators as, you know, the gospel, which doesn't really make sense. And influencers don't need a project to succeed. They need views more than anything. So yeah, if your conviction is coming from the likes of the world of YouTube, it's a bit of a problem. And I've seen it myself. When I used to hold altcoins, people would ask me, why am I still holding? Am I still holding? What am I doing with it? No, I just hold Bitcoin now. And it's much easier. And I can't be bothered with always updating my portfolio. The thing is, this market has changed so much. And that is the reality here. And I know I'm probably going to lose a lot of subscribers, but this market has changed. If you do not adapt, you will die. And that's the thing. You need to buy altcoins at the correct times. Realistically, is there a correct time right now? No. Why? I've kind of already alluded to it. There's not enough liquidity. There's too many VCs in there. Even if liquidity does come back, they're just going to sell on every single pump anyways. And we could talk about looking down here on the world of like YouTube. It's all designed to get you in, to get you to listen to something that they're going to tell you that's going to maybe change your opinion, to make you, as a psychological trigger, cling on to your bags for longer, which is a problem. That confirmation bias, seeking the only bullish opinions, not the bearish ones. Hoping next cycle it'll come back. You know that coin you bought in 2021, it's going to come back, it's going to do well. No, it doesn't always work out, and I've been there before. And as I say, look through my content, Tony the Lamb. I've been talking about altcoin rotations to kind of help you navigate them, understanding the stable currency dominance, which we will talk about in a second. Stick with me. Understanding why this market is not pumping and why it has done what it's done. As you can imagine, I'm going to say one thing. Altcoins may never revisit any of their all-time highs. This is not an opinion, by the way. This is the data, and we're going to look at it. Because when we look at the charts, right, and I'm going to keep this simple if I can. When we talk about this, I am not talking about USD. People have this kind of thing where I need to look in USD at all times. We're talking, what are they doing against Bitcoin? And we could talk about Ethereum. Ethereum has failed massively this cycle, like a monumental collapse. And I think people don't quite understand it. Yeah, you could talk about, oh, if I bought at 1,500 and I sold at 4,000, sweet, yeah, I've made a bit of money. That's fine if you're trading it. But as an investor long term, we are down massively. Now, let me just talk about the materialistic element to this. When we talk about the previous all-time high here, right? Bitcoin was 69,000-ish, right? When we talk about this retest, Bitcoin was into the hundreds, right? So Bitcoin's, I think, probably would have been maybe nearly double the price. So why isn't Ethereum double the price? Well, the reason why it's not double the price, boys and girls, is because the Ethereum BTC pair has monumentally collapsed from that time zone. And again, this is the market, well, where was it? Yeah, 15th of around this level here. So it already went up higher. So it kind of collapsed where this point is here as, well, 7,400, give or take, 7,400 sats. And that's the thing. It went much higher and then we collapsed. So what we've done here from that time horizon, give or take, from this zone, where is it? From the 15th around here, we went down quite a lot. So we could talk about, not from the peak, but we went down 75% to the low. And we are currently at these levels here. Now, where that all-time high was here. We were down 42%. 42%. And that is the reason why every altcoin looks like a dog's dinner, XRP. Because if you bought this from 2019 prior and been holding for years, you might look at the USD pair and go, I've made a bit of money here. But realistically, you've just marked time for a long time. You've done nothing. We're nowhere near all-time highs. We're nowhere near big levels of interest here. We're still at 2,358 Satoshis. That just showcases how crazy it is. And this is XRP. XRP is pretty decent, realistically. When you talk about how it is and what it does, it's all right. Ethereum, I've already showcased, it was down 42% from the highs to the highs. What on earth is that? That just showcases how crazy it is. And then we can talk about the likes of Solana, we can talk about Link, we can talk about Polkadot. Oh my God, don't even talk about Polkadot. You know, AVAX, even BNB. BNB's probably one of the better ones. And it still looks like that. So that's the reasons for it. It's an altcoin graveyard. And these charts are showing permanent decay, diminishing returns. And it all showcases as well around the likes of this, where we've had these big booming cycles, but this time we have the longest run up and nothing's happening. Even if this drops, right, there's no guarantee of an alt season because there's not enough of them. There's not enough interest in any of them because when we talk about it, stable currency dominance is the main factor here. This is starting to go up. It's starting to get a little bit sweaty. Money is rotating out. And that is indicating that people are scared now. They're not interested. It's a bit of a capital kind of protection mode now where this is going up. Stable currency dominance is increasing. That's an important problem. And when we talk about altcoin rotations in the past, and my videos talking about how we need to go lower than these regions, we've failed. We need to get into these zones and take profit. It just didn't happen at all. And the countless times that this has happened is unbelievable. And that's where the problem lies. During this time period, Bitcoin dominance has been going up and up and up, and it's hardly dropped. When it does drop, it doesn't really drop much, and it doesn't really get people excited. So yeah, it's not just bad luck, it's just structure of the market, realistically. Bitcoin is realistically that liquidity. And yeah, we can talk about the inflows and all that kind of stuff, and that's important because over the course of the last year, give or take, there's been quite a good period of, inflow situations. But now we've got a situation where boomers, retail people who are buying the ETF funds, so to speak, may well panic a little bit. That could create a bit of a problem. And it may well make it even worse. But I want to kind of end on a little bit of guidance here because I still believe, in my personal thoughts here, if you buy the right altcoin at the right price in the right low point of BTC pairs / USD pairs, if you're picking really good obvious ones, you might do all right. You might actually make a bit of money as a bit of a trader here. Focus on the narratives. Realistically, the momentum and rotation is important here, not bags from the last cycle. That's the one thing that people fail on. And in the previous cycles, it was okay because there's a lot less of them. The choices were there. So what I used to do back in the day, and this is up to you, and you can talk about it in any different way, but if coins came out that were good and came out at the wrong time, they were usually really, really good options because they would run anyways because they already had the fundamentals behind them. But realistically, they just haven't happened this time around. And also as well, talk about exit strategies. Let's talk about something here. This is important. Now, we're on Blowfin. Blowfin's a fantastic exchange. I highly recommend it. Jump in. There's a lot less fees if you're using my link. Now, have an exit plan. And I know this sounds dumb, but I'm doing courses about entry and exit strategy. I'm going to do all kinds of TA stuff and basic stuff just to get you going. They will be on Patreon as a member. Have plans. Have a Notion list. Have plans on your TradingView as alerts. There's a link, by the way, to TradingView if you're interested. There's still a Cyber Monday. You still get a load of discounts, by the way. That ends very, very soon, right? But have alerts to set exit strategies because I talk about a lot. When we talk about, say, like NIA, for example, I made a lot of money on NIA at the start of this cycle in terms of 2023 into 2024. And I jumped out because it was ridiculous. So it was literally this price and it went to like $8, $9. I was like, I'm out. And that's the thing. People couldn't get their head around the fact that I was out. But it made a lot of money, and altcoins still didn't have that fundamental belief at that time point that they were going to do really well anyways, because it was a bit of an AI bubble. It kind of happened again. Even though we're going through a big AI bubble in the stock market now, this is not reacting. It's a bit of a problem. So you need to recycle profits from anything that you've done back into the likes of Bitcoin, essentially, and your longer term conviction plays. Because the likes of NIA is no longer a big cap coin. It was a couple of months back, or even you can argue a year and a bit ago, but not anymore. You need to stop treating these stuff that are very cyclical like long-term investments, because they are. You've got to think like a bit of a trader. And that's where the problem lies. You've got to look at the momentum, the rotation, not the narratives, as I say, of the last cycles. This will align with everything that you're doing because you are looking to survive. And I know that's probably over people's heads, but you need to jump in these at the right time, and you need to get out at the right time. This is why I talk a lot about these charts in terms of dominance. Where is the market flow going? You can trade this market very, very easily if you have no emotion to them and you just go, right, I'm buying this because of this. Look at the likes of the DEXs recently. They did well. Look at the likes of the privacy coins recently. They've done very, very well. Guess what? You're not going to buy them, are you? You're probably going to be exiting if you bought them months ago, obviously. You need to stop treating them like long-term investments, because even the likes of the most obvious coins in the world, if there's inflation, guess what? They're going to bleed. If there's a period where the money and the rotation just stops for a little bit and the market cools off, you're going to feel the pain. And this is why, as I've alluded to it, every single altcoin looks like a dog's dinner. And even if they bounce, people get caught up in the emotions of a bounce and then they go even lower again. We are in a period where it could go a lot lower very quickly. As I say though, before I go, if you want to save some money and really get some information, get TradingView. There's a link below to it, by the way. You get an extra $15 off if you use my link. On top of that, pretty good, right? If not yet done so, please do watch this video. This may majorly help. And also, if you did like this video, please do leave a like, obviously. And yeah, subscribe if you want some more.